The chamber of the Galactic Council was a place of wonder. Built on the shining station of Veliora Prime, it floated between twin suns that poured golden light through vast crystal windows. 1,000 banners of 1,000 species hung from the towering ceiling, each color and symbol representing civilizations that had stood for ages. For centuries, the Council had ruled the galaxy, deciding the fate of entire worlds with a single vote. At the center of this chamber, on a round platform, stood the representatives of Earth. They were few in number, only 5 men and women dressed in simple dark suits without weapons, without guards. Around them towered alien delegates in glittering robes, scaled armor, and flowing garments made of materials unknown to human eyes. The Speaker of the Council, an ancient being with silver skin and 6 eyes, struck the ceremonial staff against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder across the hall. "Today we decide the matter of Sol 3, the speaker declared, its voice calm but cold. "The species known as humans have been accused of reckless expansion, dangerous aggression, and refusal to submit to galactic law." The crowd of alien voices rose like a storm, hisses, screeches, growls, and melodic tones all overlapping. Some called for punishment, others demanded caution. A few whispered about humanity's stubborn spirit, but the overwhelming tone was one of contempt. One delegate, the scaled and proud representative of the Vrathul Dominion, raised her claw. "Humans are primitive. They refuse to obey the Council's treaties. They expand without permission, colonizing without restraint. If we let them grow, they will spread chaos across the stars. The answer is simple: enslave them. Break them before they break us." A cheer rose from her allies. Another alien, tall and feathered with glowing eyes, added, "Humans are short-lived, but dangerously clever. They do not respect tradition. They build weapons faster than we can count, and they dare to challenge fleets far larger than their own." I second the motion. "They must be chained, their industry harvested, their creativity bound to serve the Council." The words rolled across the hall. Delegates nodded. Votes were already being prepared. The human ambassador, a woman named Catherine Hale, stepped forward. She was not tall compared to most aliens present. Her dark hair was tied back, her face calm, her voice steady as she spoke. "Honorable Council," she began, her tone respectful. "Humanity came here to learn, to trade, to share. We were not asked into this galaxy. We were born into it as you were. You call us reckless, but what you call reckless we call survival. You call us dangerous, but what you call dangerous we call determination. You fear our growth, but what you fear most is that you cannot control us." Her words echoed, and for a brief moment there was silence. Then laughter erupted, harsh, mocking laughter. The massive body of a stone-skinned giant rumbled with amusement. "You speak as though you are our equal. Humanity is young, child of Sol. You are but infants compared to us. We built star empires while you were striking rocks together. Do not imagine your small victories make you mighty." Another voice added, "You stand against 1,000 worlds. Your fleets are nothing. Your colonies are dust. Do you truly think you can resist us?" Ambassador Hale did not flinch. "We are not asking for war. We are asking for respect." But the Council had already decided. The speaker raised its staff once more. "Enough. The motion has been placed before the Council. Let the vote be recorded." One by one, the banners of each civilization glowed. Red for yes, blue for no. The colors lit up across the vast chamber. Red, 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 dozens, then hundreds. The tide was overwhelming. When the tally was complete, the speaker announced it with finality. By the vote of 987 to 14, the species known as humanity is to be enslaved. Their homeworld and colonies will be seized. Their people will serve the Council. A roar of approval shook the hall. Many aliens clapped, stomped, or hissed their triumph. The Vrathul delegate raised her claw in victory. The feathered envoy spread his wings in delight. To them it was done. Humanity was defeated without a single battle. Yet on the platform the humans remained still. Ambassador Hale turned to her fellow delegates, then looked back at the assembly. Her voice was low but carried a strange strength, quiet yet unshakable. "So this is the justice of the galaxy," she said. "Power over principle. Numbers over truth. You believe we will bow, that chains will break us, that threats will silence us. You do not understand humanity, but you will." She gave a small nod to her companions. Together, the 5 humans turned and walked away from the Council floor. Not a word more. Not a plea. Not a cry. Only silence. The aliens jeered. Some shouted insults. Others mocked the humans' calmness, mistaking it for surrender. But a few watched with unease. A reptilian scholar whispered to his colleague, "Did you see her eyes? That was not fear, that was something else." The colleague, a soft-bodied being with glowing tendrils, replied, "It does not matter. They are alone. No race has ever defied the Council and survived. Yet as the humans disappeared through the great doors, an unsettling stillness lingered in the air. Far from Veliora Prime in the quiet depths of space, humanity prepared. On Earth, factories roared to life. Engineers worked without rest. Soldiers trained in silence. Farmers, workers, teachers, scientists, all of them felt the weight of the Council's decision. News of enslavement spread across the planet, but instead of despair, a fire lit in every heart. They remembered their history. They remembered how once they were ruled by kings and broke free. They remembered how they had survived wars that scorched continents. They remembered how they had looked to the stars not with fear, but with hope, and they knew no council, no empire, no 1,000 alien votes would decide their fate. Humanity had been underestimated before. Always, and always, they had endured. Now in the silence after the Council's decree, the humans prepared not for surrender, but for something far greater. Back in the Galactic Council, the celebrations continued. The vote was written into law. The banners glowed with victory. Delegates congratulated one another, certain that order had been maintained, that the wild species of soul was now tamed. But none of them realized that they had just made the gravest mistake in galactic history. For the humans had left the chamber not as slaves, but as survivors. And soon the galaxy would learn what it meant when Earth stood against the stars. The first fleets arrived above Earth only 3 weeks after the vote. They came in shining formations, hundreds of alien warships with hulls of silver and gold, decorated with the proud banners of the Galactic Council. Each vessel was enormous, larger than any human ship, carrying weapons that had shattered planets in ancient wars. To the alien commanders, the mission was simple. Humanity would be subdued in hours. The Earth would kneel. In the flagship of the fleet, Admiral Sorak of the Vrathul Dominion gave the order with a grin. "Transmit the decree. Let them know their chains await." A signal shot toward Earth. A holographic message filled the skies above every human city. In a dozen alien languages translated into English, the Council's words were clear. "Humans of Sol 3, you are now property of the Galactic Council. Your leaders must surrender. Your fleets must be dismantled. Your industry will be placed under control. If you resist, you will be punished. Obey, and you will be spared." The aliens waited for panic. They expected humanity to collapse in fear. But Earth was quiet. Cities went on with their work. Lights shone in the night as usual. Farmers tended their fields. Students filled classrooms. Soldiers stood at their posts. To the aliens, the silence was strange. They mistook it for weakness. "Perhaps they are stunned," Admiral Sorak laughed. "They will break easily. Deploy ground units. This will be over by morning." Yet as the first landing ships descended through Earth's skies, the mistake began to show. The alien transports targeted a region of North America, choosing to land near military bases. But as their ships pierced the atmosphere, every system aboard them flickered. Screens went dark. Engines stuttered. Weapons refused to fire. The pilots screamed in confusion. "We are losing control. Systems failing." Below them, unseen towers hidden in Earth's mountains released powerful signals. Human engineers had been preparing ever since the Council's threats had reached them. Entire divisions of cyber warfare experts had worked night and day, designing ways to turn Earth itself into a shield. The alien ships crashed harmlessly into fields, their landing gear folding awkwardly as systems shut down. No weapons fired, no soldiers advanced. The proud armies of the Council were left confused, trapped inside their own vessels. All across the planet, similar events unfolded. Fleets in orbit reported strange malfunctions. Navigation computers sent them in circles. Weapons locked onto false targets. Communications filled with static or worse, with human voices. "Welcome to Earth," one voice calmly said across the alien channels. "You should not have come." In the Council chamber on Veliora Prime, reports poured in. Delegates leaned forward in disbelief. "What do you mean the fleet has stalled?" One demanded. "They are thousands of ships. shouted another. No single world can resist them. But the truth could not be hidden. Humanity was not fighting with sheer numbers. They were fighting with something no Council fleet was prepared for: unpredictability. On Earth, human forces did not rush into open battle. They knew they were outnumbered. Instead, they used their greatest advantage: adaptation. When alien drones landed in the forests of South America, they were swallowed by traps hidden beneath the trees. Nets of high-voltage wires wrapped around their metal forms. Human soldiers moved silently, disabling machines without firing a single bullet. When an alien cruiser attempted to fire on a city in Asia, its targeting system suddenly displayed dozens of false cities across the map. The ship fired into empty oceans, wasting its ammunition. Human hackers had fed its computer's illusions so perfect that the aliens could not tell reality from fiction. When small groups of aliens attempted to march on African plains, they found roads collapsing beneath them, bridges rigged to fall, skies filled with swarms of small drones that blinded their vision. It was not brute strength. It was not overwhelming force. It was cleverness. It was speed. It was a willingness to fight in ways the Council could not imagine. In orbit, Admiral Sorak grew restless. He had expected victory within hours. Now days had passed and still Earth stood free. He turned to his officers. Why do they resist so fiercely? They are only one world. An officer, pale and nervous, whispered. Admiral, they are not like others. Their tactics, they change faster than we can counter. Every time we adapt, they find another way. It is as if their entire species is united against us. Sorak slammed a clawed fist against the console. Then crush them with fire! Burn their cities until they beg for mercy. But when the order was given, even that failed. For Earth's defenses were not only human, the planet itself had been turned into a fortress. Satellites armed with secret weapons pierced alien shields. Solar-powered stations blinded enemy scanners. Entire mountain ranges hid artillery built in silence, waiting for this very moment. When the first alien ships tried to unleash destruction, they found themselves under fire instead. Entire squadrons fell from the skies, glowing like falling stars. The galaxy had expected humanity to cower. Instead, humanity had prepared. Across the stars, word spread quickly. Other species watched with awe and fear as reports leaked through. The humans are resisting. They are winning. No one has ever stood against the Council and survived. Civilizations whispered in secret. For the first time, they questioned whether the Council was truly unshakable. Back on Earth, Ambassador Catherine Hale stood in a hidden command center deep underground. Around her, screens displayed maps, signals, and the progress of humanity's defense. Engineers reported victories. Scientists explained their strategies. Generals outlined plans. Hale listened quietly, then spoke in a steady voice. The Council believed we would surrender because they outnumber us, but they do not understand. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. We were outnumbered in our own wars. We were threatened by nature itself. And still we endured. This is not new to us. This is who we are. The room fell silent, her words carrying the weight of history. She looked at the glowing screens. Let them come with their fleets. Let them bring their chains. We will show them that Earth is not a world that bows. We will show them their mistake. Meanwhile, in the Council's grand chamber, fear was beginning to stir. Delegates argued, shouting across the hall. This is impossible. They are too young, too primitive. Then explain how fleets of thousands are losing to a single planet. They should have been enslaved easily. Instead, they are teaching us fear. The Speaker of the Council struck its staff to restore order, but the unease did not fade. For deep in their hearts, even the proudest empires were beginning to realize the truth. They had underestimated Earth, and in doing so, they had awakened something they could not control. Far above the planet, Admiral Sorak stared down at Earth's glowing surface. For the first time in his career, doubt crept into his mind. The humans were not broken. They were not afraid. They were resisting with a strength he could not measure, and a single thought, unwelcome and terrifying, entered his mind. What if we have enslaved the wrong species? The war that was supposed to end in hours stretched into weeks. Alien fleets still circled Earth, but their grip was weaker every day. Where they expected easy victory, they found stubborn resistance. Where they planned swift conquest, they discovered endless surprises. Yet as the battles continued, something new began to appear. something the Council had not predicted at all. It was not Earth's weapons, though they were clever. It was not Earth's soldiers, though they were brave. It was something else, something invisible but powerful. It was humanity's unity. In the underground command center, Ambassador Catherine Hale read reports from across the planet. Villages in Africa were sending food to distant armies. Engineers in Asia were working day and night to repair satellites. Farmers in South America had given their land to hide defensive systems. Children in Europe were writing messages of courage to soldiers on the front lines. The entire planet was moving as one. Generals who had once been rivals now shared strategies. Scientists from different nations exchanged discoveries freely. Politicians who had argued bitterly now stood side by side. For the first time in history, Earth had one purpose, one voice, one will: survival. Ambassador Hale whispered to herself as she looked at the glowing screens. This is our true weapon. Not ships, not missiles, but us, together. Above the Earth, Admiral Sorak grew restless. His ships had more firepower than all of humanity combined. Yet every day his forces fell behind. Every day the humans found new ways to resist. He paced the deck of his flagship. Why do they not surrender? No species has ever lasted this long against us. His officer hesitated, then replied, Admiral, perhaps they are different. They do not think as others do. Every human we face seems ready to sacrifice, ready to adapt. It is as if the entire planet fights as one mind. Sorak growled low. One world cannot stand against 1,000. They will break. But the words felt hollow even to him. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light. Traitors, smugglers, and informants carried the news. The humans are still fighting. The Council cannot control them. The Earth is winning. In hidden places, other species listened. Small civilizations long crushed under the Council's rule began to hope. If one small world could resist, perhaps they too could rise, and in secret some began to send quiet aid. A shipment of rare metals here, a signal of information there. Nothing open, nothing bold, but enough for humanity to notice. For the first time, the galaxy was not only watching humanity, it was beginning to believe in them. On the surface, a group of human engineers worked in a mountain facility. Their leader, a young scientist named Daniel Vega, adjusted his glasses as he spoke to his team. We don't just fight with weapons, we fight with ideas. Every time they block us, we build something new. Every time they strike us, we learn how to strike back harder. His team smiled, tired but determined. They had turned old factories into defense stations. They had turned communication towers into weapons. They had even transformed children's toys into miniature drones that harassed alien patrols. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was useless. Humanity could turn anything into strength. Daniel paused and added softly, that is what they will never understand. We invent not because we are stronger, but because we must. That is our gift. In the command center, Ambassador Hale prepared a message. For weeks, the Council had declared Earth defeated. For weeks, alien broadcasts had painted humanity as broken. Now she wanted to send her own words. Not to the Council, but to the galaxy. The cameras lit up. Her image spread across hidden channels, across signals the Council could not block. Her voice was steady. To the species of the galaxy, I speak as one of Earth. You voted to enslave us, but you will not succeed. We are not afraid. We are not broken. You see us as one world, but we are more. We are billions of voices, billions of hands, billions of hearts. Together, we are stronger than you imagine. Her words carried beyond Earth. Small civilizations watched with awe. The Council raged, trying to cut the signal, but it was too late. Humanity had spoken. On the flagship, Admiral Sorak slammed his claws against the console when he saw the broadcast. Arrogance, he roared. They think words will save them? But deep inside, he knew the truth. Words could save them. Because words were more powerful than weapons when spoken with unity and belief. And for the first time, Sorak felt something he had never felt in all his campaigns. Doubt. Back on Earth, life was not easy. Cities bore scars from orbital bombardments. Families lived in shelters. Supplies were stretched thin. But even in hardship, humanity found light. Children painted stars on the walls of bunkers. Musicians played songs to lift spirits. Teachers taught classes underground so young minds would not be lost. And soldiers, though weary, smiled when they received letters from strangers across the globe. They fought not just for their own nations, but for every human being. It was in these small moments that their true strength shone. One night, in the command center, Ambassador Hale stood with General Marcus Reed, a tall, quiet man who had fought in many battles. Together they looked at a screen filled with reports of victories and losses. "General," Hale asked softly, "how long can we hold?" Reed crossed his arms. "As long as we must. The Council thinks battles are won by firepower. They don't understand that battles are won by will, and our will is stronger." He paused, then added, "I've fought many wars, but this feels different. For once it's not nation against nation. It's humanity against the galaxy, and humanity is united." Hale nodded. "Yes, that is why we will endure." Weeks later, something incredible happened. For the first time, alien fleets retreated from Earth's orbit, not because they were destroyed, though many had been, but because they were afraid. Reports flooded the Council chamber. Ships refusing to engage. Troops unwilling to land. Morale collapsing. Delegates shouted in anger. The Speaker of the Council demanded obedience. But the truth was undeniable. The fleets no longer believed victory was possible. And so the galaxy, piece by piece, began to beg the Council for answers. How can one world resist us? What makes them so strong? What are humans? Back on Earth, Catherine Hale stood before her people once again. "They wanted us to kneel," she said. "But we stood. They wanted us to surrender, but we fought. And now they know our secret. Our weapon is not ships. Our weapon is not guns. Our weapon is us, our unity, our will, our spirit. That is why we cannot be enslaved." Cheers erupted across every shelter, every base, every hidden command post. The people of Earth had found their answer, and the galaxy was beginning to learn it as well. High above, Admiral Sorak stared down at the blue and green planet. He thought of the vote, the overwhelming numbers, the certainty of victory. And now, he thought of his fleets retreating, his soldiers broken, his council furious. For the first time, he whispered words he never imagined he would say. "They are not the ones in chains. We are." The galaxy had voted to enslave Earth. But in doing so, they had revealed the truth. It was not Earth that would bow. It was the galaxy that would learn to kneel, because humanity's true weapon was awake and it was unstoppable. The Council had never faced failure before. Weeks of battles had left their fleets battered, their soldiers discouraged, and their pride shattered. Every attempt to land troops on Earth had ended in disaster. Every strike against the planet had been turned into a human advantage. And yet, the humans were not only surviving, they were thriving. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, tension crackled in the air like static electricity. Delegates shouted over one another, their voices raw with fear and frustration. "This cannot be. How can a single planet resist the might of the Council?" demanded the Vrathol delegate, her claws gripping the podium. "It is impossible," screeched the feathered envoy, wings fluttering with agitation. "All records show no species has ever survived this level of attack." The Speaker of the Council, its 6 silver eyes glowing, attempted to restore order. "Silence." The vote was clear. Humans must be brought to obedience. Yet their persistence. It defies logic. But logic had failed the Council, and with every passing hour the realization spread. The humans were not breaking. On Earth, the people worked with relentless determination. Cities repaired overnight. Bridges destroyed by alien bombardments were rebuilt in days. Soldiers trained civilians in the art of defense. Scientists sent secret messages across the galaxy, exposing weaknesses in alien technology and spreading hope to oppressed species. Everywhere, humanity proved the impossible could be done. Ambassador Catherine Hale walked through a temporary command center in New York City, observing engineers who were designing a new fleet of small, agile human ships. Unlike the Council's massive vessels, these ships were quick, adaptive, and clever. They were designed not for brute force, but for strategy. Every maneuver planned to outsmart their larger enemies. General Marcus Reed approached Hale. "Our message is reaching beyond Earth," he said quietly. "Other species, they are starting to notice. Some are even helping us in secret." Hale nodded. "It is time they see the truth. Humanity does not need to conquer to be powerful. Our unity and ingenuity are enough to make the Council rethink everything." Across the galaxy, reports of human victories spread like wildfire. Entire fleets disabled by one planet. whispered a small envoy of the Lyran Collective. No species should survive this. They are not merely fighting, a trader from a distant system reported. They are teaching every oppressed race how to resist. I have never seen anything like it. In hidden sectors, former enemies of the Council sent gifts of technology and information to Earth. Rare metals, schematics, data on alien fleets all arrived secretly, guided by human intelligence. The Council's delegates panicked. Their vote to enslave humanity had become a trap. Every day of delay increased the humans' advantage, and the galaxy trembled at the possibility of a united Earth. In orbit above Europe, Admiral Sorak of the Vrathul Dominion observed a new wave of human ships. They were small, fast, and seemingly everywhere at once. They are multiplying, he muttered to his first officer, a wiry alien with 6 arms. Every time we destroy one, 2 more appear. The officer's eyes widened. Admiral, they are learning faster than we can attack. Their strategies adapt instantly. No fleet, no army in the galaxy has ever done this. Sorak felt a cold knot of fear in his chest. For the first time, he wondered if humanity could truly defeat him. Back on Earth, the people prepared a message for the Council. It was not a declaration of war. It was a declaration of truth. Ambassador Hale spoke to the cameras. Her image projected across hundreds of star systems, reaching even those who had not yet allied with humanity. To the species of the galaxy, she began, her voice calm and strong. You voted to enslave Earth. You believed our numbers and technology were insufficient. You believed fear would bend us. You were wrong. Humanity is not defeated by numbers. We are not weakened by challenge. Our strength lies in our unity, our creativity, and our will. We do not seek to dominate, but we will never submit. Any species that threatens another without reason will face the consequences. We do not need weapons to prove our point. We need courage, and we have plenty of it. The broadcast ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. For the first time, alien ambassadors began to approach the humans, not with hostility but with caution. The Lyran envoy, who had once scoffed at Earth, bowed slightly in a secret meeting. Your words, your victories, they are unlike anything we have ever known. Perhaps we underestimated your species, perhaps we should listen. Small empires, previously loyal to the Council, quietly sent messages, assistance, supplies, advice. The tide of fear began to turn. The galaxy that had once celebrated humanity's supposed enslavement now trembled before them. On Earth, life was still hard, but hope burned brighter than ever. Families celebrated small victories. Soldiers who had faced alien weapons smiled as they retreated safely from traps. Engineers designed new defenses that could outsmart even the most advanced fleets. Hale walked among the people, listening to their stories. A child who had watched her city's skies fill with alien fire told her, "We will win because we are all together." Hale smiled. "Yes, that is exactly why. You are the true strength of Earth." Back in the Council chamber, fear had taken hold. Delegates shouted at one another, blaming their allies, questioning their orders, and pleading for solutions. "This planet, it is impossible," screamed the Vrathul delegate. "Every strategy we use fails. The humans, they are not just resisting," said the feathered envoy. "They are teaching us fear. Every action they take shows us we can be defeated." The Speaker of the Council remained silent, but even its eyes, glowing with ancient wisdom, reflected doubt. The vote to enslave Earth, once thought absolute, now felt like a mistake that could cost the galaxy dearly. High above the planet, Admiral Sorak sent one final fleet toward a human stronghold. He believed that sheer firepower could force submission. Instead, the fleet was trapped in a complex network of human defenses. Signals misled their navigation, energy beams blocked their weapons, and drones attacked relentlessly from every direction. Ships fell in silence, leaving trails of fire across the sky. Sorak's flagship barely escaped, riddled with damage. For the first time, he considered retreat. They cannot be beaten, he whispered. Not by fleets, not by fleets of thousands. Nothing can break them. And so, one by one, species that had voted for humanity's enslavement began to plead for mercy. Messages flooded the Council chamber. "Stop the attacks or we will all be destroyed. Negotiate! Do not force their wrath. They are not just a world, they are something more." The Council was stunned. Every species that had once cheered for humanity's subjugation now begged for its restraint. The vote that had seemed so decisive had backfired completely. For the first time in history, the Council faced a species that could not be ignored. On Earth, Ambassador Hale read the messages, a calm smile spreading across her face. "They wanted to enslave us," she said to General Reed, "and now, they beg." Reed shook his head. "No one has ever had the courage to face the Council and survive. Humanity has done what no other species could." Hale nodded. "And we will not destroy them. That is not who we are, but they will learn that to threaten Earth is to invite their own downfall." The message was clear, not just to the Council, but to the galaxy. Humanity did not seek domination, but it would never be enslaved. Humanity's strength was not in ships or weapons, but in unity, creativity, and unyielding will. And the galaxy had no choice but to respect it. The stars themselves seemed to shine differently that night. Across countless systems, the humans of Earth became a symbol of hope, courage, and defiance. Former enemies whispered tales of their victories. Traders and explorers shared stories of their cleverness. And even the proudest empires of the Council began to wonder if they had underestimated the most dangerous force in the galaxy, a united humanity. And in that silence, across the stars, a single truth spread. To enslave humans is to invite your own destruction. The galaxy had voted to enslave Earth, but now, every species was begging for their lives. The Galactic Council had crumbled. No single vote, no single fleet. No single empire could enforce its will against Earth. The species that had once celebrated humanity's supposed enslavement now bowed in fear, sending delegations gifts and messages of apology. Yet humanity did not seek conquest. They sought justice, fairness, and the right to exist without fear of chains. Ambassador Catherine Hale stood on the balcony of the newly constructed Galactic Assembly on Earth. Thousands of species had gathered, not as conquerors, but as allies and witnesses. Ships from across the galaxy filled the skies, their banners fluttering in every color imaginable. And for the first time, humans were at the center of it all. Below the balcony, humans worked alongside aliens in ways the galaxy had never seen. Engineers shared plans with former enemies. Scientists collaborated across species. Children played with alien peers, learning languages and customs, understanding that the galaxy was now a community, not a battlefield. Hale turned to General Marcus Reed, who had helped coordinate the defenses of Earth for months. "Do you think they understand?" she asked. Reed looked out at the crowd. "Some do, some will never understand. But it does not matter. What matters is that they respect us. They see what humanity can achieve when it is united." Hale nodded. "And we must show them what respect means, not with force but with fairness." The first session of the new Galactic Assembly began with a silence that carried the weight of history. Every species that had voted to enslave Earth now sat quietly, humbled and wary. Even the Speaker of the Old Council, now a neutral observer, watched with measured curiosity. Hale stepped forward. Her voice echoed clearly, reaching every corner of the chamber. "Species of the galaxy," she said. "Earth has survived your vote. We have endured your fleets. We have faced your weapons, and we have survived, not because we were stronger alone, but because we were united. Humanity does not seek to dominate. Humanity seeks coexistence, respect, and fairness. To those who once sought to enslave us, know this: Earth does not forgive ignorance. We do not forget arrogance, but we do believe in change. The galaxy can be stronger if we work together, rather than enslave one another." The assembly was silent. Some delegates lowered their heads in shame. Others whispered to their neighbors, debating the meaning of her words. But every species understood the unspoken truth. The humans of Sol 3 had become the guardians of fairness in the galaxy. Across the stars, small empires that had once lived in fear of the Council sent representatives to Earth. They came with gifts of technology, maps of safe routes, and messages of gratitude. They knew that Earth's strength had changed the balance of power. The galaxy would never again be the same. Even the Vrothal Dominion, proud and ancient, sent emissaries. They bowed to Ambassador Hale, a gesture they had never imagined giving to humanity. "Your species has shown us the error of our ways," one of them said. "We believed we were masters, but we were blind. We come seeking guidance and cooperation." Hale inclined her head. "Cooperation is not submission. Work with us and we will all grow stronger. Betray us and we will defend what we have built." That is the choice every species faces today. On Earth, humanity's leaders began to shape a new interstellar order. The old council was gone, its laws of domination replaced by principles of fairness and unity. Every species had a voice. Every species had protection. And at the center of it all stood humanity, not as conquerors, but as exemplars of resilience, ingenuity, and spirit. The humans did not occupy alien worlds. They did not enslave anyone. Instead, they shared knowledge, technology, and strategies of defense. They taught other species to thrive, not merely survive. Children in schools across the galaxy learned the history of Earth, not as a story of war, but as a story of courage, creativity, and unity. And everywhere the phrase repeated itself like a new law of the stars. To enslave humans is to invite your own destruction. Even former enemies learned from humans. Alien fleets that had once crushed planets now studied human coordination, adaptability, and strategic thinking. Scientists who had hoarded knowledge shared discoveries openly, inspired by the humans' collaborative approach. And in every corner of the galaxy, hope spread. Worlds that had trembled before the Council's decrees now began to dream. For the first time, the oppressed believed they could have a voice, a future, and a place among the stars. Hale walked through a restored city on Earth. Buildings had been repaired. Streets were alive with laughter and conversation. Ships from other worlds docked peacefully in newly built spaceports. Humans and aliens shared meals, music, and stories. A young child tugged at Hale's sleeve. "Ambassador," the child asked, "will they ever try to enslave us again?" Hale crouched and smiled, placing a hand on the child's shoulder. "Perhaps some will try, but humanity has learned a lesson. Courage, unity, and intelligence are stronger than any weapon, and the galaxy has learned it too. No one will underestimate Earth again." The child nodded, eyes wide with understanding. In orbit, Admiral Sorak reflected on the months of war. His fleets had been defeated not by force but by will. Every species that had once celebrated humanity's chains now sought guidance and alliance. He turned to his officer. "We were fools," he admitted quietly. "We thought power came from numbers and weapons. But power, real power, comes from unity and spirit. The humans have shown us that," the officer bowed. "Yes, Admiral. And now we must follow their lead if we hope to survive." Sorak nodded slowly. "Perhaps it is time the galaxy learned to live differently. Humanity has taught us the way." Back on Earth, Ambassador Hale addressed the Galactic Assembly for the last time. "Species of the stars," she said, "today marks the beginning of a new era. No planet should be enslaved. No species should live in fear of others. We will not rule with chains or fear. Instead, we will lead by example. By courage, by unity, by fairness, and by ingenuity. Let this be a promise. Earth stands as a beacon for all. Those who seek peace and cooperation are welcome. Those who seek domination will face the consequences. But know this, despite our strength, humanity's goal is never to harm unnecessarily. We stand to inspire, not to conquer." The assembly erupted in applause. It was not a cheer for fear, but for respect, for hope, for a new future. That night across Earth, lights shone brightly in every city. Humans and aliens celebrated side by side. Musicians played songs of victory. Children danced with their new friends from other worlds. And families shared meals that crossed species and traditions. Above, satellites projected messages of unity across the skies, and distant civilizations watched in wonder. The galaxy had been changed forever. For centuries to come, historians would write of the vote to enslave Earth. They would describe the fleets that came and failed. They would tell of the courage, ingenuity, and spirit of humanity. And they would record the truth. One planet had stood against the galaxy. One species had refused to bow. And in doing so, they had reshaped the stars. And so, the age of humanity began. Not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as a people who had proven the impossible could be done. A people who had taught the galaxy a lesson in courage, unity, and ingenuity. The humans of Sol 3 had shown that even the smallest species, when united and determined, could change the course of history. And in every system, in every corner of the galaxy, the truth was known. Earth will not be enslaved. Humanity will endure, and those who underestimate them will regret it. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter that night. A new era had begun. Humanity's light would guide the galaxy, not with fear, but with hope, courage, and unity, and the story of Soul 3 would be remembered forever.